Well, we're at the baseball winter meetings, catching up with an old friend, Jim Callis of MLB.com and MLBpipeline.com. And few do it better in terms of prospects and rankings and keeping up with the young kids in baseball. So, Jim, Francisco, he's near the top of the Oriole list now, or at the top of the Oriole list of top prospects. How much better did he get this year?
He did get better. I think the question still long-term is going to be, can he catch? Can he catch at the big league level? He's improved defensively. I think he's gone from a year or two ago, most scouts I talked to said, not much of a chance, don't really think it's going to work. And now I still don't think I wouldn't say they're bullish on him, but they're like, you know what, he's gotten better. He might be able to make it happen. He's always hit for average. He's always gone on base. I think he hasn't hit for a ton of power yet, although he did, on a national TV audience, hit a home run at the Futures game. So I think that's a question. But, he's going to hit. He's going to get on base. The power, we'll see. And the catching, I think, ultimately, if obviously he can catch, it makes him a lot more valuable.
Exactly. And so is he a top 100 guy now?
It's a good question because we, at MLB Pipeline, we do our list a little differently. They're kind of always in progress. So we're always updating him. If a guy gets too much big league playing time, he comes off the list. If there's a trade, we switch teams. So they look like they're constantly updated, and they are in terms of the teams and guys who still qualify, but we don't go back and redo the rankings. So our last top 100 list was really done in July outside of guys graduating. So I haven't thought about it. One of the things I'll do at the winter meetings is sit down and work on my preliminary list. I think he's certainly in the discussion. I think it comes down to whether or not you think he will catch in the big leagues, and that's, I think, still an open question.
And, the Oriole system has taken some hits. It's not producing to the level of some of these other teams are with their prospects. And I've talked to your friend of mine, John Manuel, about this, who says it's not a real red flag on the organization right now because they're winning at the major league level.
Right.
And they're winning with some of their kids at the major league level. But over time, you want to watch that and you want to start to bring that organizational ranking up a bit.
Yeah, no, that's true. They're having success at the big league level. And even if you have a loaded big league, like let's say you're the Cubs and you feel like you have a loaded team, you still use those guys as trade fodder. So you can never have too many prospects. And it's I did think their draft this year was promising. It has a chance to be one of their better drafts in recent memory. But yeah, I think they tell you the same thing. Even though they're winning at the big league level, I'm sure they wish their minor league system was stronger too.
Right. How do you make it stronger?
You draft better, you do better internationally. The one avenue that isn't really available to them because they're contending, if you're rebuilding, you could trade veterans and get prospects, which they're not doing because they're trying to win right now. And I do think it is tougher, especially in the current system with the bonus pool limits. If you win, you're going to have a smaller bonus pool, and it limits who you could sign. It's not like the old days. Not the Orioles necessarily did a lot of this, but you could spend whatever you wanted. And even, let's say I gave up my first-round pick to sign a free agent. And the Orioles have given up picks to sign free agents. Well, I could give my third rounder $2 million. Now you can't do that. You're limited by the bonus pools. So, but if you have success, the current system and the rules in place limit you somewhat, but that still doesn't mean you can't go out and draft good players and sign good players internationally. There's great the best players in the draft usually go near the top of the draft, but there's always good big leaguers in the third round, the sixth round, the eighth round. It's just a matter of finding those guys.
Let's ask Jim Callis about two players who were on the Orioles last year, Dylan Bundy and Kevin Gausman, two young pitchers you've talked about many times, ranked them, seen them many times. Where can they take their game to in 2017 when they're going to be counted on pretty heavily in that rotation?
Well, when they were picked, and for a while before, especially before Bundy got hurt, it looked like, okay, these guys would be at the front of the Orioles rotation for years to come. And I think they're building to that. I don't know if they'll necessarily be the 1 and 2 starters in Baltimore in 2017, but I think you have to be enthused by the way both guys looked last year. Gausman had a pretty full season as a starter, finished among the American League leaders in strikeouts. I think he still has the upside frontline starter. And then the guy who really opened my eyes was Bundy. I'll admit, as many injuries as he went through and how long it took him to get back on the mound, it seemed like he barely pitched for 3 years. I was in the fall league in 15 when he was going to come back and pitch, and he pitched an inning, which scheduled, it was only supposed to go an inning the first day. And I don't think he pitched again. He got shut down, I think, before his second outing. And you wondered, okay, is it ever going to happen for this guy? And then they were in a little bit of a tricky situation, as you know, because he was on the 40-man roster because he made the big leagues so quickly. He had to be in the big leagues this year. And so I figured, okay, you can't put a lot of innings on this guy because he's barely pitched. We'll get 50 or 60 innings out of him, and that'll be that. But no, in the second half for a while there, he was one of their better starting pitchers. I think he did run out of gas toward the end of the year, but he actually held up better and pitched more and probably more effectively than I thought he would this year. So We'll see. I think he pitched, about 80 innings this year or so?
A little over 100.
Okay, a little over 100, even more than I thought. So, I mean, you probably can't ramp him up to a full season of 32 starts, but I'm more optimistic about him than I was. I mean, it got to the point where you need to see him on the mound doing something, and you did. So I think the things are looking up for both those guys.
Jim, thanks so much for the visit today.
Yeah, good talking to you, Steve.
Always love to hear the insights from Jim Callis from MLB.com and MLBpipeline.com with us here on MASNsports.com.